Hey guys, so I'm back again with another podcast here. And what I want to do is just what I usually do, what I do every time, is ask you once more to listen, to understand the words, to listen to the words and the meaning that is coming out of it. Not pay attention to the rhythm, to the lyrics, the sound of his voice, or the way that he's dressed, the dramatic type of looks that he gives us, but to listen carefully to the words he's saying, right? And to their meaning. Okay? That's what I want you to do today. And that's the exercise we are going to do together. And at the end, well, we are going to see if we come to the same conclusion. And if not, I want to understand where there is dissension and where we don't understand things the same way. Right? So, this is the speech of Tchiroma calling the population of Cameroon. First of all, giving an ultimatum to the government. 48 hours ultimatum. We are well into the last 24 hours of that ultimatum, if it's not already over. And asking them to take to the streets and taking the pretext of the people who have been arrested, following his demand for all the people to walk the streets, manifest, to ask for the change. Manifestation, as we know, that turned into vandalism and violence. So people got arrested, they got jailed, and now he's taking that pretext, basically, to call for civil war, to call for bloodshed, asking for people to go down the street and demand the release of these people by any means necessary. Because it seems like they are going to be in a defensive mode. Kind of reminds me a certain conflict somewhere. Right? In any case, let's listen to it and let's analyze and try to understand. I'm going to try to be short and as concise as I can. It's not easy. And try to be as swift. I've promised from my last podcast that I did this morning that I will try to give you a short one. I'm going to try to hold to my promise and hold on to that and try to give you a concise, direct, and short analysis of his speech, right? So, let's rock and roll.
I want to launch a wake-up call to the world in general, in particular the nation which have based their very existence on democracy and human rights protection. I want to bring to their...
So, already there, you see, guys, I'm telling you, and I've already always told you that change is okay, but we have to be careful. We have to be careful who, how, and the reason of that change, and who is bringing that request for that change, for what reason, right? And how he's asking it. Is he truthful, or is he just trying to fool you and fool us? My understanding when I hear him speak, right? I told you on my last podcast, and I brought you the example of the Republican and the Democrats that are arch enemies, arch rivals. They hate them. They hate each other to guts. They hate each other, right? So much so that sometimes there's assassination from both sides. But they kind of did realize through the conflict of Israeli-Palestine that basically both of those parties were controlled by a higher power. And that it was actually that higher power that they needed to fight, because that higher power was impacting the life, the structure, the fabric of American society, of American people, creating laws that impair the life of Americans in the benefit of another nation, say Israel. Okay? So they understood that, oh man, with all these lobbies that are not making things for us, like example, how is it okay that you put out a law that, okay, if you burn the Israeli flag, you go to jail, but you burn the American flag, nothing happens to you? Does it make sense to you? No. So it didn't make sense to these people who were basically America first. Right? Meaning, if you create a law, if you do a political action, if you go to war, stuff like that, it must be for the American benefit and not for other people. Why am I saying that? You're going to ask me. Right? That's what you're going to ask me. Fair question. I'm saying that because this guy here, who is calling on to help him, and actually it's already done, in my opinion, that his backers are these people, who is calling on to help us, are the same people right, that put us in deep hell since the beginning of our independence. I gave the example of the devaluation of the CFA franc. Do you think that this did help economically Cameroon, the people of Cameroon, to get out of the slump? He's calling these people, right? I mean, let's finish with the devaluation. It broke our back. It broke our economies back. Put a heavy burden on our population. Was the cause of the death of millions of people. From then, being felt to this day. Okay, good. I finished with that. Now he's calling these guys democracy, human rights advocates, and all that stuff. Hey, guy, who is financing the genocide of the Palestinian in Israel over there? Who is financing it? If it's not all your democratic country that are humanitarian, that are sending weapons, and of course, up to date, the death of more than maybe 500,000 Palestinians that, remember, are not fighting with tanks and all that, but that are basically unarmed, fighting with AK-47, handmade rockets against tanks, F-15, 45, B-2, whatever. Last tech, they're fighting. Right? These are the people that didn't care about what was happening and actually were the cause of what happened in Rwanda, when Hutsis and Tutsis massacred each other. Didn't lift a finger then. Right? And you're calling upon these people that openly, want to bring us back to colonialism. You're calling them back. You're opening the door to them to come back and mingle in our business again. I am telling you that the Americans themselves, two parties internally against each other, hating each other, realize that basically there is a greater evil than them just fighting each other. I'm going to repeat, two parties that hate each other internally in terms of politics, internally, got together, right, are getting together because they realize that there is a greater evil to fight in order for American to recapture their sovereignty. Right? Because both parties, whatever you say, and however they can hate each other and even kill each other, right, are America first. And realize that no matter what separate them, the first and most important thing is the integrity of their country. And right now, when I listen to this, that's not the message that I'm getting. Because already it's wrong when he's saying that all this democracy and all that, and especially all these humanitarian, because this is not what they have proven us. This is not what they have shown us. And right now, this is not what they're showing us. More than 30,000, 35,000, and this is on the low ball game, 35,000 children have died in Palestine. 35 more, over like north of 35,000 children. More than 500,000 people are not dead. And this is all backed up by weapons, by diplomatic support, by propaganda, by influencers coming from the West, from France, from UK, from the United States, from Germany, from Italy, even if their population is against it. That's the first thing that I want to say here. So when I tell you guys, you need to listen, you need to understand, you need to hear what these guys are saying, and you need to understand their position. Because it's not all to use big words that they use, like dramatic words with the dramatic delivery. But we need to take all of this makeup, right? All of this fog to see reality, to see the truth. Because that's the truth that we're seeking. Okay? Let's continue.
I want to bring to their knowledge that for the first time in the history of our nation, all Cameroonians have their back today against the world, confronted with a life-threatening menace coming from this unlawful, dictatorial, state-based terrorism.
So, I'm gonna stop him right there. He said that all Cameroonians have their back against the wall today. Does he really think that Cameroonians have their back, that it's today, that it started today, that the Cameroonians have their back against the wall? I was talking earlier about the devaluation of the franc. I think it was in 1994 or 6. You'll tell me. The devaluation of the franc that really hurt and was a disaster for our economy. Devaluating our currency in half, not during the course of organically, right? But that was decided in France, in the IMF and all that stuff. They decided that, because we on our side want to improve our economy, we need to mess up with the economy of these black people. I have another word that they use, but I won't use it because I have too much respect. But they said that, for us to be able to improve our economy, because our economy is not going on, what we're going to do is that we're going to devaluate their money, their currency, Like that, for the same price, we will have double of their resources. And when they're going to import a finished product, we have double of the revenue. And of course, this is not putting our back against the wall, because they couldn't compete with us on equal basis. And like it was colonial state, and that we were kind of an outgrowth, and they didn't care, they didn't give a damn about these black people. Again, I have another word that they use, not this one. Since they didn't care, it's our money, our currency that they devaluate in order to improve their economy, in order to help them pay their loans. Okay? So when he's saying that we need to understand that Cameroonians have their back against the wall, my question is twofold. Do you really think that Cameroonians have their back against the wall only today? And do you think that those who have really put our back against the wall are sitting in a 2G? Do you really think that? And second thing that I want to ask, and that I always ask, you spent 25 years in the government. 25 years. And you told yourself that the reason that you resigned 3 months before the election was because you thought you seen that the government was not serving the interest of the people. That's what you said yourself. 25 years to realize that. To me, quite frankly, I find that suspect. Right? Really. So, let's just continue. And again, people, I'm telling you, I mean, this is not rocket science. The only thing that I'm saying and I'm doing here is just listening to what he's saying and asking myself, but does what he's saying really make sense? This is not a movie. This is not a movie. People's life are at stake here. And to hear things like that really throw me off. Really kind of get me upset. But let's go. Let's continue.
They have jailed hundreds and thousands of Cameroonians, deprived of their right, not because they did something, because this dictatorial regime have decided to operate ethnic cleansing, political cleansing, regional cleansing. This situation is unbearable.
So, again, guys, that's what I'm going to tell you again. We're talking about state terrorism, like you talked about state terrorism earlier. And we're talking about ethnic cleansing. People know what ethnic cleansing is, right? And actually, they were also talking about genocide. People understand what genocide is, right? It's not a question of just throwing words like this on the table just to scare people. Genocide, here you go. Ethnic cleansing, here you go. State terrorism, here you go. Right? My friends, brothers. Genocide is to get rid or kill a group of people in whole or in part. A specific group of people in whole or in part, because of their nationality, because of their religion, something like that, right? But a specific group of people. Let me tell you that the people who are against, who wants the change, are not from a specific community. They're from all communities. And I tell you even more, they can be from the same family. And I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact. Right? So, when he's talking about genocide who? Your own family? Or you're going to tell me that, like I said earlier, BI is going to genocide everybody else except him? When you're talking about ethnic cleansing, ethnically cleansing who? Since people from different communities are supporters of the change, and people from the same communities are okay with continuity. So you're going to ethnic cleansing who? Because at this space, what you're going to tell me basically is that, okay, Paul Biya is going to stay there, remain in Cameroon. He's going to kick everybody out, because that's what ethnic cleansing means. He's going to kick everybody out, and he's going to remain in Cameroon with his family. And we stop at that. That's what he's telling us. So, I mean, guys, the amount of gaslighting, of falsehood, of treacherous lie, with the purpose of creating a bloodbath that is going to compel the international community to come back in Cameroon and again tie us up to that colonial project and steal our resources, is unbearable for me. That's what is unbearable for me to hear. Because again, I'm telling you, organically, if people want to change, the change is okay. But if it's the change to bring our country back to where country can just devaluate, country can just come steal our rare earth, a country can just come steal all our resources, impose us things, because at the end of the day, you know that they don't care about the life of a countryman. You know that they don't care about the life of the Cameroonian. Why are you calling them out? And why are you lying about stuff like ethnic cleansing, genocide, state terrorism, and all that stuff? That worries me. And these are things that gets me concerned, to say that what this man wants is not organic. That what this man wants is something that has been fomented with other people, external influences, external powers. That's my take on that. That's what I understand with what he's saying, because every time right now that I stop and I'm giving you what he was saying and explain to you what he was saying, it was a falsehood. It was a lie. And that worries me. Because at the end of the day right now, he's calling for people to go out the street and by any means necessary, taken as a pretext to freeing people to go out the street. And if those people are not free, to launch a civil war. To make the blood spill. That's what he's telling us. Right? Let's continue.
Unacceptable. I say it in my capacity as a president-elect of this nation. I also want to bring to your knowledge. I launch an ultimatum. I give you, in my capacity, I give you 48 hours to liberate all of those who, out of law, unlawfully, you have arrested and jailed. Failing to doing it, Cameroonians will find themselves in a legitimate defense and free to undertake whatever will enable them to recover their freedom and to free their daughters and sons who are illegally imprisoned, jailed somewhere. This is the message I want to share.
Let's roll it back.
I launch an ultimatum. I give you, in my capacity, I give you 48 hours.
So first of all, in your capacity, you have no capacity. Let's be blunt about this. Let's be real about this. You have absolutely no capacity to do so. What I'm saying is that you have no army. You are expecting that people come out, listen to your word, and come out. And even that, you're not even sure because you're asking for the international community, those people that are that have democracies and that have human rights, like you're saying, to come help. So you're not even sure about this, but you're saying that in your capacity, right? You're giving somebody an ultimatum. An ultimatum of what? And this makes me realize even more. Like I was listening to a podcast of some other dude there, and that guy was saying that it appears to him that if he's asking that, is because maybe he knows people have promised him support if certain things happen. And like I was saying earlier, maybe the objective is just to start a riot here and there, spill more blood so that the international community start to put his nose in Cameroon affairs and try to mingle into it, had a foothold into it, and start getting control of our country and our resources again, right? That's my understanding of the stuff. That's my understanding. That's how it goes. And after that, where it goes on to, and the pretext that he's saying to start all this, to sell out our country, to sell out Cameroon, the pretext that he's saying is that people need to go ask for the liberation of the people who are being jailed. For the people who have been jailed. Okay? That's the reason he's giving us. He's not saying, okay, the reason for you to launch a civil war or to make is your freedom. You need to do it for your freedom because we have been suffering so much, etc., etc. And on top of that, there are people that have been arrested. No, people have been arrested. Go ask for their release. If they're not released, start a civil war. Not get your freedom. That's not what he's asking, right? So, people, when you listen to the type of message that is releasing here, there's two choices here, right? There's two choices here. Or you know that it's what he's saying is total bullcrap, but man, you just want what he wants, regardless of the consequences, regardless if our country is still controlled by outside interests for hundreds of years, and that people are suffering, people are dying, but we cannot control our destiny, right? Or you understand what he's saying, and you realize that these people, they want to sell out the country. I don't think that there's in between. I don't think so. I don't think that there's in between here. Except maybe a third option is people that are just living what they're living in Cameroon and don't care about all this, don't care about all these geopolitics, don't care about if the country is controlled by somebody else, as long as they have a little piece of bread, as long as there's a piece of road where they can drive their cars, drive their bikes and all that stuff, as long as they have maybe one or two hospitals and all that, they don't care who controls their country, right? Whether it's France, UK, whether it's the United States, no matter what, stealing all their resources. They don't care about that. And making sure that they always have us under control and preventing us to achieve our true our true potential. That's what I'm saying here. So I promised that this podcast was going to be short, and I think that I've delivered. Right? And I'm just going to finish by saying this, guys. I'm going to finish by saying this, and please listen very carefully. There are different moments in history that define the future of a nation. The devaluation was one of them. The coup d'etat attempt of '84 was one of them, because don't forget, coup d'etat attempt. I mean, it was done by loyalists of Aidjo, supported by France, because they didn't like where the direction policies of Biya was going. And this is fact. This is written. You can search for it. You can read for it, because Biya wanted to detach from France, wanted Cameroon to take their own decision, to own their own industries, resources, industries. Right? So yes, there's certain moment in history that define the future of a nation. You know what? I do think something. I do think that Cameroon has been fighting for years and years and years to kind of really cut that umbilical cord, that was all those shackles that were forced upon us by our slavers, by our colonials. I do believe that some people are kind of mistaking those shackles for umbilical cords, not knowing that even umbilical cords, you cut them at birth, which they didn't do when we got our independence. They just put puppet masters. Puppet masters put puppets and try to control the puppets. Right? So there are these moments in history that defines the future of a nation. Are we going to sell on our own, having our destiny in our hands, being able to achieve our full potential? Or again, are we going to put on some new shackles, shiny one, made out of silver or gold, but they're still shackles, and allow other country to dictate how Cameroonians should be dressed, what is the money, the currency that they should hold, who they should do business with, what is the price they should sell their resources at, and who they should deal with. This is the choice that we get right now. We are at that crossroad where we need to decide that. Because we know from this discourse here and from other discourse, but specifically for this one as well, that he's not alone. And when I'm saying he's not alone, I mean he's not alone. Not that people from Cameroon, the people that he has sent down the street, are going to do his bidding. They're doing his bidding, but they're not going to achieve what he wants them to achieve right now. And we know that there's other powers that are out there. There was somebody who was asking earlier in another video, I don't know who it is. He was saying that, oh, how come the government is making sure that the weapons are under control and all that in different bases? Is that, are you crazy? Are you crazy? You want to open the door and make it easy for everyone to come in Cameroon and just overthrow and bust the armed resistance that is in Cameroon. That's what you want to do, right? That's what you want to do. We've seen it in '84. Right? So this is my position and this is my warning to you guys. Because normally, when I think about it already, without the devaluation, we would already be at another, we would be somewhere else economically. We would be somewhere else economically without outside influence. France in particular. Okay? So today, right now, that's the choice that we have. It's that defining moment in history where people have to take a stand, where people has to say, you know what? Again, change, yes, but let's forget about all this. People have to take a stand. And people has to say, no, they shouldn't have to, they have to say, this is our country. We don't want somebody to come here and make brothers and sisters kill each other for the interest of someone else. And we know that it's in the interest of someone else because we've just seen it here. We've just heard it here. But you know what? I'm going to let you guys be the judge of it. And that's it. I'm going to let you be the judge of it. And please let me know what you think about it in the comments. And I'll be happy to hear from you. Get educated by you, if anything. And again, if there's some people that, two people from the chat that want to go into a debate, I'll be happy to host it. So you guys take care, and I'll be talking to you to some other time. Bye, guys.